Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Today is June 23rd, and this is another of our monthly blocker bug scrubs. My name is Maciej, but that's irrelevant because our host today is Eddie. So Eddie, take away from here.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. I'll make this bigger. So does anyone have any callouts that we should look at first? If you do, feel free to drop them in the chat. So the first one I wanted to look at was this one. So this was, you can't read certificate authority from a named pipe. We talked about this at one point, and Lau took a look at it. And the issue actually turns out to be that the file descriptor that gets created when you do a standard in read like this gets read twice. And those file descriptors from a named pipe can only be read once. And so that's actually the issue that's going on. And so Lau traced it back through the code base and it kind of did a really good write-up here. You want to drop any comments or thoughts, Lau? If you're talking, we can't hear you. No? All right. We can't hear you if you're talking. No. Oh, I heard something.
Yeah, I did hear something. Maybe try bumping your volume a little bit.
Hello, hello.
There you go.
Okay. So every time we need to talk to the API, so we need to set up the REST client, and because every time we set up a new client, then we will have to read from the file descriptor, and that will require being read twice every time we set up a client. So for get part, we will have to read about 6 to 7 times. That's why giving us the errors.
And there doesn't seem to be a clear path to make that only a read once, right?
Well,
yeah.
Actually, I've noticed somewhere in my GitHub emails that there is a PR where someone is trying such that we will only create the client once for the entire lifetime of kubectl. I haven't looked at the PR. I'm not sure if this could theoretically help with this situation. I would have to look it up where that was.
You might have to dig that out of your email.
Yeah, I'll if I find it, I'll paste the link to the chat.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good job figuring that out. We'll have to, I guess we'll wait to see if that PR exists. Otherwise, that might just be a not fix right now type of thing. Okay. Any other callouts we want to look at first? All right. So, oh, there was, Brian, you opened a PR against the kubectl repo. Did you do that on purpose?
I did.
Okay.
It was more of an idea. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that actually. One thing I saw on, I think it was Terraform's repo was they had this nice little note on the community, like community notes for every issue. And I thought, well, because a lot of times we get low effort issues that are open. And so part of this was to motivate people to put in enough details to say, hey, this is your chance to make your case about this thing you want. And also kind of call out to people to say, hey, if this is something you want, give it the thumbs up. That way we know that it's something that we should consider more. It doesn't have to be this exact verbiage, but I was thinking of how do we improve or get rid of, or not get rid of, but how do we improve the quality of some of the issues so that there's a little more effort in there? Just an idea. I'm not trying to say that we have to adopt this necessarily. And I saw that I think it was Tim Bannister tagged us as contributor experience or something like that, and that probably makes sense as well. Maybe it's not something we want to do alone, and it's something we should just kind of follow what the greater Kubernetes org does.
Well, this is what we said we were going to do anyway, right?
Right. It is in line with what we were saying with regards to all of the either plugins or bug reports or everything. If you care about it, just vote it up. Although I think, Brian, you need to submit this PR against the main repo. We have a issue template over there.
Oh, really? I thought for some reason I thought that the Git specific or GitHub specific action, or not actions, but issue templates was in this repo.
Yeah, but they are within the repo, but the full contents of that repo is being mirrored from the main Kubernetes repo. So if you look under the staging page,
yep. No, I knew
there is a .github. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that for the code. I didn't know if that was the case for the repo metadata stuff, but I'll go ahead and close this. And really, I probably should have just brought it up instead of opened a PR, but I was just like, well, I don't know why I just made a PR directly, but
no, the idea is legit, completely legit. So I'm more than happy to talk something like that.
All right, I'll close this one and open it on the other one.
Yeah, no, I'm totally in for having that note there for sure. We can run it by SIG contribx too. They might want to do something but we have our own issue template anyway, but they might want to do something broader. Okay. Don't need that. Okay, Macho, you found the PR. It was closed.
Yeah, that was close, although it did have the idea of having something like a client pools. So theoretically, this could solve the issue, although I'm not sure how I feel about having client for every single possible resource, because basically, well, not necessarily resource, but what we are doing is we are creating separate clients per every group. So for example, get may be a little bit different because if I remember correctly, get uses the resource builder. I can't remember how the resource builder, but under the covers, I think it uses the dynamic client. But theoretically, we could lazy load them. So read the config once and then just create the clients as you need them. That could be theoretically simplish, and it might potentially solve the issue that that Lau was describing earlier.
We could just use a sync.once too, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's basically what I was thinking.
Okay. Wow, you want to take a look at this? Take a look at sync.once maybe too.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. I guess we'll walk through the backlog. The old issue that still needs triage. What is this? Exec and port forward TLS handshake error when issue. Oh, I think I reopened this. Yes. Yeah, all these people report issues and then disappear when we ask more questions. So this will probably close itself again.
I mean, the author explicitly mentioned exclamation mark in the HTTP proxy password. So, but I'm guessing that his problem with the exclamation mark could be related with the bash. Trying to parse the exclamation. Not sure if he escaped this one properly.
What is %23? That is a pound. 24 is a $sign. So the pound is what doesn't work. Which I guess, well, it's encoded, so it shouldn't be interpreted as a like anchored tag, right, in the browser. All right, we'll have to play with this one. All right, I'll take a look at that.
Or maybe we can tag it as good first issue. Seems somewhat simplish, or at least contained.
Good first. All right, I'll leave myself a note. Okay, that one. And then, Katrina, did you want to walk through anything customized today, or wait until your next one?
I was going to set up I haven't done it yet, but set up a dedicated bug stub for customize. So I think it would make sense to start with kubectl for this one.
Okay. So let's see. We have a huge backlog. Oh, it's only 38. That's not that bad. Let's see. New PRs that need triage. Old PRs that need triage. Yeah, there's a lot of those. We have to go through Mark's PR. We really got to get that one in.
It's on my list. I'm gonna go through it this week. I'm gonna let it in. I'm literally I'm super focused to get it in for 122. It's like top of my list. As soon as I'm done with all the origin for Red Hat stuff, I'm gonna block an hour or two and go through it. I want it in, basically, and it has to be for 122 for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
right,
something
let's
that I was
see.
looking at.
So this is kubectl copy command fails when passing full Windows paths.
Send it my way. I have a PR. So I was talking with Jordan, Mo, and Tim, and basically I'm reworking how copy handles the OS specific paths. There's currently we have too many of the specifics per each thing, but there is a more generic approach where I'm handling those OS specific paths versus those always Linux paths. And there's an open PR, which potentially could solve this. I pinged Tim last week. I haven't heard from him back yet. I'll probably reping him.
Okay. There's a PR here too. Someone.
Yeah, I've
opened.
noticed. I'll have a look.
Okay. Dependent environment in config map. So this is something shadowing it.
Isn't that related with the fact that he initially, so in the first run, the Redis host pass and ZDSN are initiated. So and that's being done as one action by bash. And that's why ZDSN does not have those filled in. When you are invoking that again, they are properly expanded. I don't know. I'm having a hard time understanding what he's talking about.
No, I think you're right. I think this from end file does not do substitution, which would make sense.
Yeah. And especially that Paco tried it and he commented there. And somebody commented, sure if that's the author, Shimming, he's the author? No, that it might be potentially a kubelet issue, which was just closed by Fahetabot out of inactivity.
Should be a kubelet feature request.
Yeah, I doubt it's anything for us.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it literally just got closed. I would leave it as is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna touch it. Wow, what timing is that? Oh, that's funny. Okay. ANSI escape. I feel like we looked at this one. ANSI escape character and JSON event objects are not being filtered.
And I just haven't got a chance to look at it, and it's on my list.
Okay.
So I'll definitely have a look at it.
All right. I'll bump it for now. Kubectl customized conundrum.
Yeah. The moment we use 121 with the new customize, it stops working. So I'm guessing they are using some deprecated or removed behavior. I'll let Katrina comment on this one.
Yeah, I have to have a read through it. It seems like a common confusion, like people don't realize that there was such a huge bump in the customized version between 120 and 121. It's like from version 2 to version 4.
I like the issue name. Thank you, Katrina. Kubectl Customize does not work with inline patches.
This is client version 20, yeah. So I don't know if we want to care about that, because that's necessarily using the really, really old customize, right?
Yeah, I'm inclined because even the author admits that it is potentially closed by the new kubectl with the new customize, but I'm unable to test that specifically, or maybe just verify. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say there.
Like the issue does mention their client version is 120, so we know which version of customize that is.
Yeah. I closed it for now. Regex for validating syscontrol values in deployments might not be correct.
That's more like package AP policy would be SIG auth / SIG API machinery. That it's definitely not us.
Yeah, there's okay, there's activity on this. Yeah, I wish I could just edit the labels like I can on the kubectl repo without generating noise by removing it.
I can.
Okay, thank you.
So just drop the 6 CLI.
Yeah.
Done.
Kube control wait on arbitrary JSON paths. It's an issue from DIMS. Oh, this is. Wow, weren't you looking at something with wait and conditions? Or is that someone else? Also, if you're talking, you're muted.
Yeah, the one that I remember, the PR that I think is still open somewhere, was waiting for conditions, I think.
There was a PR, 92277, just linked there.
On the original?
Yeah. Oh, there, you just went through it. No, that's not the one. Go down. Yeah, there you go. 2 up. Yeah, this one, the comment. this one. Although it's closed, but it looks like someone added the ability to wait on the JSON path. Looks okay-ish from a quick glance.
That closed 3 hours ago. Thanks, Betabot.
Right on time.
I guess I will reopen it. So this is waiting on our review? Yes.
Send it my way. I'll try to find it sometime. It will be good to go through all the wait issues and somehow combine them into a single one, or all of the PRs.
Oh, it's a different one, Katrina. Adding conditions for wait.
This is one that somebody brought to a SIG CLI meeting a long time ago. Yeah, it's been open a while.
All right, so I will collect the wait issues and we can agenda them if we want. I was looking at this one the other day, actually. So the problem was that we're printing out delete events, but they don't seem to come across the wire as a delete event. So maybe we're missing a type somewhere. Or... I'll take another look at this. What are we doing on time? Oh, we got a ton of time. Okay, kubectl diff not yet supported, returns 1. Which means, oh, Ricardo was looking at this, wasn't he? Or Doug?
Right, but the one is coming from the error of an unknown flag, and not from, yeah. So, but it definitely is along the lines of try to unify the return codes.
Exec timeout does not kick users out on kubectl client. Antonio is assigned. Antonio is working on this. Okay, so Antonio is working on this. Do we think this is a SIG CLI issue? Seems like it's closer to SIG node.
Yeah. I can probably drop the SIG CLI from there.
You drop that and I'll add SIG node.
Okay.
Cube control set env does not support use of F and -- from flags simultaneously.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the way we have the resource builder created, it's either this or that. It does not allow both, and I don't think there's anywhere in the code that we would want to accept both. I'm not sure if that's a bug.
That's a big PR. What is this? Separate?
No, I think he mentioned that he was trying to verify some behavior for that particular PR, and he could not because of this problem. So
I think he tagged the wrong issue.
no, he was working on this. At least that's what I'm understanding. I came up upon this while trying to write a unit test in relation to this PR.
Where do you see that?
And the initial description of the issue itself.
Am I just blind?
Go to the top, halfway through.
Thank you. Okay, I got it. Too many tabs. Okay.
I'm inclined to close this as, yeah, well, no.
Okay. You want to close it? And
Yeah, I'll do
comment
so.
that. Thank you. Okay. kubectl get command not consistent with overlapping resources kind, not in the same group. Might return. Okay. So they're shadowing because they're the same name.
Yeah, it's a known problem. And so basically every resource in a Kubernetes cluster has a priority. And in those rare cases where shadowing happens, there are two ways for you. Either you are specifying a full group version kind to get, or you are, yeah. We did fix this for explain, but it was a little bit different for explain. Forget, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe we could solve this, but I'm worried that it might be a breaking change.
Would it with the fact that like it's normal to have multiple
Yes. Yes.
we're trying to say
Yes. I can speak from experience because that popped up in OpenShift. Yes, we have, for example, projects. And a friend of mine was reaching to me earlier today because he was getting projects and was getting different projects than he would normally expect. And when we started looking through, it appeared that one of the API servers was gone, which changed the priorities, and he was getting the other one, which you would normally not get. But because the the primary one was not available. It just fell back. Yeah. I was also thinking, because when I stumbled upon this earlier today, I was like, theoretically, when you do kubectl get, let's say, projects or gateways in his way, the problem is we are getting something for you, but we are not we're not loud enough that we picked this particular type of gateway by saying this is gateway that something something that something something instead of something 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 else. So either a warning or like a combination of warning plus O, where you may be looking for this and not that. It would be good. It would be good to add.
Isn't it true though that there are like very normal, certainly in historical cases where we wouldn't want to warn because we are making a valid choice across multiple resources with the same resource name because they've migrated group versions, like take deployment, for example, migrated from extensions to apps, and then there's several versions within that. Like we want to silently pick there. How could we distinguish between that case and this one?
Yeah, that's a very good observation, because that's where the priorities came into play. Because, for example, if I'm going to do pods, and I can easily imagine someone coming up with a pods resource, which will be living under example.com, for example, group. And in 99% of cases, if you do kubectl get pods, you will actually care about the pods from the core, which will have a higher priority by the fact of being a built-in versus getting pods, which are either a CRD or an extension API server. So yeah, it's a tricky thing. API resources is your friend in those cases.
Do we want to surface that priority somewhere? Because I understand the idea. Like if we have two CRDs that have the same thing, like that's not an in-house resource.
Right. That's a good thing. And I could definitely see this particular priority being exposed in the API resources or versions. If I remember correctly, they are part of the discovery API. Although I might be wrong. Somebody would have to check this out.
Okay. Commented. Oh, hey, additional gate when deleting namespace.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, another person who disappears after they all see the issue. Do people not get GitHub notifications?
I'm getting my GitHub notifications, but try to go through what am I 280 at this point in time.
Consolidate that at some point.
Maybe they.
Well, the other option is they remove their namespace and they are still recovering.
I was gonna say maybe they got fired for deleting their namespace.
Well, Ricardo, did you see Ricardo's reply yesterday?
I have not.
Ricardo commented on the KEP thread. Ricardo accidentally left off a C when doing a delete PVC -- all namespace, but he dropped off the V. So he was deleting, or to C, he deleted all the persistent volumes. Thankfully, it was a staging cluster, but he made the mistake. So experienced people are making this mistake too.
I honestly don't know of any developer who accidentally removed any kind of resource. I personally, I think I was like my first or second year, did a delete all from a table, whatever the name was it, and then in panic realized it was a production cluster, not a my environment. So I'm pretty sure that every single one of us did something similar to this, or will eventually do.
I definitely have. I feel like we have to bring it back up again with Jordan, because Jordan was so opposed to making a breaking change there. But I wonder if we're just straw manning, right? Like no one's come forward and said this would break my stuff. So how do we get those people to come forward?
The problem is that there's a lot of folks behind that will not comment in either direction. If you're looking at the issue from oh, we have this many complaints, you're actually still missing that there's this many people who never had problems with those because they have either different approaches or they never even commented on that issue. So you're only, that's the other problem. We are always exposed to only a certain degree of problems that people are facing. And you still missing the big picture of maybe the problems that even, I don't know, 50, 100 people that are struggling with this is like a drop in the sea of this many people that, yeah, it's working fine, and they will be more pissed when we would change it. And you will only get those people speak up when you do change it. So it's always a balance of, do we want to do it? Do we not? And that's where Jordan is coming from. And if you recall, my initial reaction was similar to Jordan's, that I was a little bit skeptical about, especially something so fundamental as kubectl delete, which was one of the first commands that was added. So yeah, I honestly feel both ways, because I've been in a position where I did delete all, but thankfully that was in a testing cluster. But still, yes, it happened to me. I even approached this problem with a PR that I pointed you to. So
yeah.
But at the same time, I do understand Jordan and David and Clayton and Tim's worries that we would be breaking users one way or the other. So it's a tough one.
I know it's a tough one.
It seems so simple because it is, oh, it's just one another flag. But actually, if you look at the big picture, it's a very close call in both directions.
People shouldn't be upgrading their binaries without reading release notes.
So I remember talking, I think I stumbled upon both type of customers where before approaching every single upgrade, they would go line by line with the release notes, and with others that were more like, oh, we will figure out as we go what broke. So yeah, you never know which one you're gonna work with.
No.
You also have to keep in mind that the people, like, there could be two different personas involved. The person who decides to update the cluster might be totally different from the primary set of end users that actually invoke kubectl on a day-to-day basis in an enterprise setting.
I just don't want us to be paralyzed from making changes like that. Like we all agree it's a bad current implementation, but we can't do anything about it.
Well, we can. We came up with the plan, right? And
Yeah.
that plan is a logical step towards making the bigger change if we get buy-in for it after we've shown the value.
Yeah, that's true. Let the people say, why is this not the default? That's the current plan. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Should we just
moving
close
on.
these issues in favor of your kept though? Like we really want to consolidate discussion there, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah. So, good call. Okay. We have -- all namespaces does not work with kubectl describe pods.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's not gonna happen.
Right.
That's why would you want to do something like that?
Describe is designed for a single human readable resource. This requires targeting a particular namespace due to possible conflicts, right?
Well, conflict is one thing, but the amount of data that describe reads, so get only reads pods and nothing more. If you think about get pods, but describe pods actually reads under the covers at least events with other resources. We might be scraping some additional data, but usually it is at least a particular resource and all the events related to a particular resource. So even with 100 pods, that means 100 gets, because if I remember correctly, we are doing one by one, or even if we do it by list, then there will be 100 follow-up requests for events for this particular pod. So you might end up with about 101 requests with a single describe all. And if you multiply that by namespaces and whatnot, that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Again,
Okay.
I think
This does work. So this is a user misunderstanding.
Yeah, I think the last two comments were correct though. Like
Yeah.
they're both saying like this is a deliberate choice that you can't combine all namespaces with the specific name. That doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. Correct. This was the designed implementation. Okay. I don't know how I would live without spell check. Get pods takes a long time after context switch. Well, that is a discovery issue. What is a long time though?
looks like 2 minutes.
That is a long time. Skipping cache discovery info. Yeah, it's discovery.
No, if you look at the info, it's second and third line. Second says 002646, and the third one says 0028.
Mhm.
And the delay, the almost more than 2 minutes
In loading the
is
config file?
No, it's not load the config files. It's the initial curl for API. Because loading and follow-up actions are pretty fast. The initial, so we are loading the config file, And the next one is curl to get the API, and that is taking 2 minutes. Yeah, that call is taking 2 minutes. But the timeout on this one is okay. GitHub is cool. Oh, it's 32 seconds. So there should be a timeout of 32 seconds, and it should end sooner than 2 minutes by the server, unless the amount of information he's scraping from the server is so big, like he
Well,
has this
server
many
version
API.
is 17. When was the timeout added?
Oh, timeout was always there. I'm not sure how working that was, but how good. Yeah, the server. Oh, I see. He's talking about the server side. Yeah, it's 117. And there were some fixes on the server for the timeouts. We might want to suggest him to have a look at what's causing, looking at the networking, why the request is taking this long. He might want to try with higher verbosity. I think 10 prints the entire request and response bodies. And I haven't seen response in his in the initial curl.
I'll write a comment for that. We want to call it there, end a few minutes early. I can use the bathroom before my next meeting.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks
Cool.
a lot.
Thanks,
all.
everyone. We
Have a good one.
Great work.
See ya.
Bye.